Wade was born and raised in Corona, New Mexico. And in fact, I wanted to mention that his family used to own the bar in Corona, where, as we like to say in this business, Bill Brazel lost his loot. Chuck was 7 years old when a UFO crashed about 30 miles southeast of Corona. He is known and been curious about UFOs for most of his life. Chuck received his Bachelor of Science degree from New Mexico State University in 1968. He spent 4 years on active duty with the U.S. Naval Seabees and 26 years as a naval reservist. He worked as an engineer for a large general contracting firm for 8 years and owned and operated his own general contracting company for 22 years. He closed his business in 1999 so that he could spend more time with his two hobbies, UFOs and alternative energy. And in fact, that's the topic for the day. Chuck and his wife Nancy, whom you see they're running the equipment, have made their home in Gallup, New Mexico for the past 30 years. So, I would like you to join me in welcoming Mr. Chuck Wade.
I've been really busy the last 2 or 3 days. Well, what a great audience you are here today, and I'm really appreciating each and every one of you coming here today. For I absolutely have something to say, and I'm going to do my best to say it, and as clear and as precise as I can say it. Born in 1939 in Corona, New Mexico, and I really and truly appreciate being here today and addressing you. And I'd really like to extend a thank you to each and every researcher that has been out here for all these many years, putting in their time and effort and money. It takes a lot of effort to do this research, and they've been doing it a long time, and I want to appreciate that. And if it wasn't for those guys, I would not be standing here today. But in 1934, he purchased the bar there in Corona. There's only one. There's none there today. But, no, it's closed. I was there just yesterday. Yeah. But, yeah, Dad has that bar for 42 years. And Dad, I can remember him right now, standing in the doorway with his right foot propped up, looking out, getting some air and all that. And that's what he was doing in the summer of 1947, whenever Mac Brazel drove up with his old red pickup, or an old pickup. And he was excited. He wanted to tell Dad that something had crashed out on the Foster Ranch, and he wanted my dad to come out there at the ranch and see it. Because Mac had no idea what was out there. And basically no one else knew what was there, because it's something we on Earth have not seen very much of. Well, anyway, Mac was quite insistent to get Dad to go out to that crash, and Dad didn't go. And I've heard my father tell this same story a number of times in my lifetime, and also he always ended the story with, "I wished I would have went with Mac." And if you want to see this as an affidavit, right before the 50th anniversary, Nancy and I put together an affidavit about what I just told you. I signed it, and it's hanging in the UFO Museum there here in Roswell. I'm really pleased to be part of this, because I think it's a history-making deal. Now I'm going to turn our attention to the plains of St. Augustine. The crash that occurred on the plains of St. Augustine, July 1947. Once again, I'm going to claim that the United States government and their military shot it down. What I have in my hand here are 5 pieces of metal off of that crash that we have retrieved from the site. And before it's over with here today, I'll be happy to pass this around. Just be gentle with it. Please do not open it. But you can see what this stuff looks like. And being that I have parts of it, I believe it happened. There's some people in this world says it didn't happen. And also, I would like to make it crystal clear that this crash that crashed on the plains of St. Augustine is not related, at least by metal, to the crash that happened there by Corona. There's some of the people says it's the same crash when in Corona and went out over there. Well, this is not in any, I mean, it's just not the same metal. This right here, you can see that it's all crinkled up. Pay particular attention to how crinkled it is. And there's a reason for that. In the second part of my talk, I will try and explain why it's crinkled up and something about it. On this here, on wave 2, notice that this metal has been machined like stovepipe. Also, this piece over here, wave 6, this big heavy one, this is a 1/16 of an inch. And I'll get into this more in my second talk. We're going to have a small PowerPoint. But this right here is 1/16 of an inch thick. That's about 1,500 microns thick. This other stuff over here is anywhere from less than 20 microns all the way up to 60 microns. That is thin. There is a Mr. Gerald Anderson who was 5 years old whenever this happened in 1947. And he tells about actually being under the craft, feeling it, and it felt cold. That is really, really important. It felt cold. Extremely important. So I'll talk about that later. Remind me if I miss cold, because I'll tell you what, that's going to have a huge amount of way we make electricity in the future. Campbell, who is a researcher from the state of Oregon, and he and his wife had spent many summers down here in New Mexico looking for this craft. He did just not go out on that plains, because this plains is about 1,200 square miles, like a great big bowl with big mountains on all sides. So it's really an inhospitable place. And here came the military the next day. That's remarkable. Mr. Campbell was the speaker there at Aztec. I was really thrilled about what he talked about, because I live in Gallup, just north of the plains, about 100 miles or so. So before that weekend it's over with, I made friends with Mr. Art Campbell. We decided to make a dig. And I made 4 tripods with 12-foot legs with great big baskets, and we went out there with a crew of men and we dug dirt. We did not dig hardly at all where Mr. Campbell knew that craft was. We dug dirt for here and there. And we was looking to see if that's the only place it came down is where we knew it came down. Towards the end of the weekend, we did set up the tripod there and we found parts. No problem about it. I know exactly where that thing came down. And I'm going to call it the Barney Barnett site. Some people might have another site in mind, but I'm going to call this the Barney Barnett site, because the whole thing I just described with you makes total good logical sense.